The third method is very effective in controlling the mind and drowsiness. If you're sitting there in meditation and you realize that your wandering thoughts are very strong and you are losing control of your wandering thoughts, meaning that they come and attack you and you have no way of calming the mind. Or you sit there and you start to feel drowsy, you're about to fall asleep, then this method is very effective. Remember, the goal of meditation is to maintain awareness of the mind and at the same time maintain the calm of the mind. Right? It's not sitting there feeling good, and then it leads to sleepiness. That's not it. You don't call that meditation. I mean, you may call it power nap or something, but it's not meditation. But if your mind is active all the time, and although you have that awareness, but your mind is not calm, then that's not meditation either. That's agitation. So the purpose of meditation is to have this calm mind and yet still be aware of your surrounding. So you're aware of your surrounding, but you are not disturbed. That's a meditation. So if you are being attacked by wandering thoughts, or you're being attacked by drowsiness, then this method is very helpful. This method is to radiate compassion through all sentient beings, all beings. And this is to supply compassion in our breathing. When we breathe in, we radiate compassion to all beings. And when we breathe out, we radiate compassion to all sentient beings. So we know you're breathing in, you're visualizing compassion. When you breathe out, you know you're breathing out and you visualize compassion. Okay? There are 5 levels of radiating compassion. Compassion towards yourself, compassion towards friends and family, compassion towards a neutral person, and compassion towards your foe, your enemy, somebody that you cannot stand being together. And then lastly, compassion to all sentient beings. So compassion to self, I'll go down to a little bit. Compassion to friends and family, those who you have good affection, those who you care about. And it's easy to have compassion towards somebody that you care about. It's natural. Right? Your family, you care about them. Your friends, you care about them. So it's easy to cause rise to compassion. And once you're comfortable with that, then you can radiate compassion towards a neutral person, like your mailman. You don't know much about your mailman. Or your cashier at a local grocery. You don't know much about. So you think about them too. After you're comfortable with that, then you can expand that zone of comfort to encompass your foes, those who you may not like very much, those who will bring you trouble. So you extend your compassion towards them too. And once you're comfortable with that, then you can radiate your compassion to encompass all sentient beings of the 10 directions. But that's a very high level. We need to bring ourselves back to reality. And the first step that we should do is to have compassion towards ourselves first. Thinking is a starting point. It needs to bring our compassion and our thinking into our actions and our speech. Thinking that we're going to have compassion towards everyone is good. It's a good starting point. It's like a green mango. You cannot eat it yet. It's still sour, but it's there. You have it. And so when you can bring your compassion in your thoughts into your action and your speech, then now you have a yellow mango that you can enjoy. Thinking alone is not good enough. It has to lead to compassionate speech and action. Right? We need to bring benefits to other people, that they can really reap the benefits from our speech and actions. Compassion here, in Sanskrit, it's called metta, M-E-T-T-A, metta. That's compassion. So in order to have this true compassion to all sentient beings, it needs to start with us. Metta has to start with us. Why is that? Because if you don't love yourself, if you don't appreciate yourself, it is very difficult to have love and appreciation for others. If you don't love yourself and you try to love other people, try to be compassionate about other people, try to be helpful, then there is an agenda behind it. Meaning that it could be either, maybe it's a fake, and you're trying to gain a favor, right, by helping other people that hopefully they'll help you. That means we're not being true to ourselves. When our hearts are full with compassion and we are being generous to other people, that is true generosity. It is very difficult to be generous to other people when ourselves are hurt, right? But if you are already happy, it is very easy to be generous to other people. And that's true generosity. If people don't accept our generosity, we can take that generosity for ourselves. There's no issue. But if we try to give to somebody and we don't have it, and people don't take it, we can become angry. We'll be self-centered, and we'll get angry because we think that they are belittling us. Let's say you're very wealthy, you have a lot of money, and you give money to somebody, and they don't take it, then you take that money more for yourself. But if you have no money and you try to give money to somebody, that's called an investment, right? You hope that they take that money and you gain something in that giving. So that's why of the 5 levels, metta, in order to cultivate metta, it has to start at home, meaning it has to start with us. And it's not easy. Cultivating metta is simply a question of dropping self-criticism. We are very tough on ourselves at times. Whatever we do, sometimes we're not happy. And we study meditation, we study compassion, and we don't always come to fruition. Meaning that sometimes we are not very compassionate. And we become very self-critical. But whatever we have done, the fact that we have honest intention to cultivate metta is already a source of joy, a source of contentment. Right? So compassion towards ourselves is the keystone to contentment, happiness, joy, contentment. If you are truly contented, then you will be able to maintain this bliss, this happiness, this joy in you wherever you go, whatever the circumstances may be. This true contentment is resilient and is a deeply rooted state of peace. Nobody can impact it because it comes internally. It comes from within yourself, so nobody can come in to rip it apart. It's so deeply rooted that no wind of the outside, no emotions, no environment can uproot it. It is so strong. Right? And it is a source of energy and confidence. When you are happy, wherever you go, you feel very confident. It is as if you know your way home. You don't have to ask for directions every 5 minutes because you know that your way home. And even if people are telling you you're in the wrong way, you just smile and continue on your journey home because you know your way home. So when you are truly happy, you don't need to ask other people whether you're happy or not. You don't have to depend on other people for your happiness. If you are depending on other people's happiness, then you are putting your happiness in the hands of others. Meaning that your joy and your happiness is at the mercy of other people. If they like you, they compliment you and you feel happy. And if situations don't like you, they throw you a few criticisms and you feel sad. So you're being strained. And so we don't want to ever put our happiness in the hands of others. We don't want our happiness to be at the mercy of somebody else. We want to have that control. And so it's very important that we appreciate ourselves. Right? We know who we are and we know what we want. When you have this self-confidence, you feel inspired. And not only that, but your inspiration is so strong that it radiates out and it inspires other people. Right? It helps you and it helps other people. So it's not like gritting your teeth through a difficult situation. We had a new college hire. I tell them that it's very important to find the purpose of your work. Whatever assignments you have, it is very important to find the purpose of it, because that's what joy is. Usually new hires, you come in, they don't know a lot, because the processes, procedures, what a project is, they don't have an idea, so they have to do a lot of reading. They have to do very low-level work in order to build themselves up. And so I tell them, don't be discouraged, because everything that you do is part of the entire picture. So whether we practice meditation, we're just sitting there, just breathing on focusing on our breathing, or reading sutras, or even come to this place to help out. It is all part of the entire picture. Think of this way. You have a jigsaw puzzle, you know a jigsaw puzzle, right? There are pieces that you have to put together. There are some pieces that are very dull, no color, very black even. But it is part of the entire picture, because without it, you look at it, the picture is not complete. So whether we have responsibilities of a CEO or president of the company or a janitor, every role is important because it is part of that picture. The company cannot be successful without the workers. And the workers cannot be successful without those who see far ahead. Right? If everybody is a CEO, then who's doing the work, right? But if everybody's doing the work, then where are we going? How do we know we're ahead of the competition? So you need to have all those pieces in order to make the picture complete. So in other words, we have to find the purpose and the meaning of what we do. You just don't sit in meditation and just hope to find meditative bliss, because the entire picture is missing. Where are you going? What are you doing with that meditative bliss? You don't have that picture, big picture, you will lose that inspiration, because it becomes dull and it becomes uninteresting after a while. When we cultivate metta and we have true contentment in our hearts, we can find delight in whatever we do. And we can find delight in the world around us, whether or not we have the things that we need. Because our happiness is no longer dependent on the external environment, materials. Our happiness is within our own hands, and it's not at the mercy of somebody. So how do we cultivate contentment? How do you have this contentment in your life, throughout your life, the whole day? How do you have this joy, this contentment? One way is appreciation, to have appreciation for what you have. That's how you find joy. Appreciation doesn't come easily, because there's a tendency that we're critical of ourselves and the outside. For example, we're driving and there's a construction and we get upset. We say, there has to be a construction right now, I'm going to be 10 minutes late. But we don't think about the people who are doing the repair, the road. Right? They're risking their lives working on the road for us so we can drive safely. So when things go smoothly, we don't cause rise to appreciation, gratitude. But when things go wrong, we get upset. Our parents are not coming to pick us up on time, we get upset. But we don't have that appreciation that our parents come to pick up us on time on the other times. People may trouble us sometimes, but all the time they are sustaining our existence. Our lives are pretty good. So overall, meaning life is pretty good. There are times where people are giving us hard times, but because our lives are pretty good, meaning that most of the other times, people are treating us pretty well. Right? They don't hinder us. One thinking in Buddhism is that you see everyone else as Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So, right, all these Bodhisattvas are helping us to cultivate compassion, metta, and gratitude and joy by giving us a hard time. Right? They come to test our abilities and to help us navigate towards the right direction. All these bodhisattvas are effectively help with our cultivation by giving us difficult times and hard times. And then, what do? We get angry with one of them. Right? When you cast rise to appreciation, then you have a totally different picture. You don't get angry with them when they give you a hard time, but you appreciate them because now you recognize you have just elevated your level of awareness by just switching your thinking that you can now cast rise. You can tap into your source of appreciation, that inspiration. You no longer see them as your foe, but actually your guru, or your teacher. The fact that we have a house to live in, cars to drive, and we can move freely, we're not bedridden. We should have appreciation for that. People are more helpful to us than they are hindering us. When we cultivate merits, we have this comfort of life, which is good. But the downside to that is that it sensitizes us to other people's problems, to the world's problem. One is either we don't see them because our merits that shields us away from problems. So we don't get to experience poverty. We don't get to experience destitute. And so our merits are shielding us away from those problems. But they exist, but we just don't sense them, so we become careless. We desensitize ourselves to the world's problems, and we don't recognize that they are problems. Cultivating merits alone is not good enough because it desensitizes our senses to other people. We don't recognize the pain of extreme poverty. There was a report by Bill Gates that he reported on extreme poverty. Do you know what it is like to experience extreme poverty? We have no idea. We don't know how it is like to experience extreme poverty. He said that people who are in extreme poverty, they think about their next meal all the time. They don't know where the next meal is going to come from. To sustain their life, they have to start everything from scratch. They don't have the conveniences like we do. We want to cook something, we turn on the stove, and there's gas, there's fire to heat our food, cook our food. We want something, we open the refrigerator and it's there. We want hot water, it's there. People who are in extreme poverty, they have to get their own waters. Some people have to walk for miles for them to get to the source of the water and bring it back. For us, we just turn on a tap and there we go, we have water. But we don't think about that because our merits are shielding us. I mean, that's natural. That's what merits do, is they protect you from discomfort. But if we stop there, then we desensitize ourselves to reality. When we are swimming in our own abundant merits, then we often don't think about the consequences of our actions. The social and environmental issues that we usually don't think about. So overall, we should have gratitude in our heart because the world is more helpful to us than it is hindering us because of our merits. Right? But the downside to that, again, is that it desensitizes our awareness to the world. I don't mean to carry the world on your shoulders, but to have awareness of our own actions. Everything that we do impacts the world in one way or another. Something that you are doing now could impact a life thousands of miles away. Right? The trash that we throw out, after we finish with our candies, we throw away the wrappers. After we finish with our drinks, we throw away the plastic wraps. We think of it as nothing. Somewhere along the line, thousands and thousands of miles away, we are affecting a life. So because our merits that we become desensitized to the world, that we don't think of the consequences. But the trash that we throw out, the plastic bags that we throw out, we think of nothing really, but they are impacting lives out there. And every life is part of this big picture. Every life is important, no matter how small, because without it, without that small, uninteresting, piece of the puzzle, the picture is incomplete. So life is not complete if we are only worried about ourselves and our own merits. So we have to go beyond merit cultivation. Our lives are comfortable. We have to go beyond that comfort, that zone of comfort. So again, bring back home is we have to start at home with our self-appreciation.